BMD Constructions was originally awarded a $31 million contract for a new machinery bund at the Dalrymple Bay Coal Terminal. By the time the company walks away from the job, it will have undertaken over $100 million worth of work, triple the original scope. The first contract for Bund 5A was to accommodate a new coal stacker and its associated yard conveyor. 4 more parcels of work were to follow before the original contract was completed. These were for an access road and conveyor underpass, 2 further bunds and a surge bin reclamation. To complete all the work in the shortest time as possible, the client developed a delivery strategy that involved a number of major modifications and enhancements being undertaken across the terminal, including the inloading, stockyard and outloading sections. All of these had a substantial impact on BMD and its particular projects, directly and indirectly. Regardless, BMD had to manage the changes, some of which affected the basic operations of the terminal. Dalrymple Bay's expansion, its 7th since opening in 1983, was urgently needed to meet the increased world demand for Bowen Basin coal. The $276 million Kirribilli rail upgrade, known as the S2K project, was one of 4 major upgrades on the Gold Coast rail line to relieve congestion on one of the state's most heavily used train services, running from Brisbane Airport through the city and on down to the Gold Coast. Included in the project was 9.5 kilometres of rail formation for a 3rd track between Salisbury and Kirribilli stations, upgrading 7 stations and upgrading associated infrastructure such as level crossings and local road networks. As the client as well as alliance partner with Abbey Group, Queensland Rail had 2 overarching imperatives: keeping access to each station open to the general public and keeping the rail and passenger freight links open throughout. Just 6 predetermined weekend closures were allowed during the entire 18-month project. Crucial to the success of the project was the planning to ensure the alliance optimised these closures. There were 14 separate intermediate handover stages with non-negotiable completion dates. The innovative alliance arrangement adopted for the project helped deliver the finished job in a high-risk, difficult environment, on time and under budget. The latest stage of the Inner Northern Busway completes this ambitious scheme with a tunnel through the heart of Brisbane CBD. The 500-metre tunnel, which includes a combination of top-down and open excavation construction, travels under Albert Street to the Roma Street Forum, traversing through the lower levels of the King George Square car park and under Anne and Turbot Streets. At the Roma Street railway station, work included remodelling 2 tracks and their platforms while keeping the station fully operational. The other 700 metres of this complex project included a 4-span busway bridge, new busway stations, an extension of the Queen Street Mall, and realigning and converting an existing rail bridge at Countess Street into a busway bridge. Along the way, the project team had to protect historic buildings such as the Town Hall and nearby churches. A critical expectation of the client was that the project team would complete the job with minimum impact on neighbouring stakeholders and the city's commuters. A community relations program was developed to address the complex stakeholder relationships, reducing confusion among public transport users and shoppers, and supporting retailers in maintaining business activity throughout the construction period. This former sand mine at Logan has been transformed from a dumping ground for old cars and rubbish into a showcase environmental and enterprise precinct. The Logan City Council bought the 120 hectares in 2003, when it was very much a neglected landscape, home to feral fauna and infested with weeds. The ultimate goal was to create a seamless integration between the built form of the area and the natural environment. The former sand mining activities had left the site with many cavities and sinkholes that required extensive stabilisation and rehabilitation. Erosion control and slumping within the park were of major concern, with complex geotechnical assessments and rehabilitation plans prepared to mitigate risk and create a space suitable for both commercial and recreational use. 80 hectares of the Berrinba wetlands have been regenerated into park and bushlands, with natural links to other waterway corridors and council parkland. The remaining 40 hectares have been developed into an environmentally sustainable enterprise park to generate knowledge-based jobs. The commercial area overlooks the wetlands, while residents of Logan now have a new recreation area of boardwalks, walking and cycling trails, and an interpretive centre overlooking the natural wildlife areas.